And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Wednesday, October 31st. I am your host for today's program, Paul Demain, and many of the stories we read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, and here are some of those news stories for the day. Tribes along the East Coast continue their review of damages from the remnants of Hurricane Sandy as it churns around the East Coast with high winds, rain, and snow, but the worst of it is over. During October 29th, at least three tribes declared states of emergency: the Mohegan, the Pequot, and the Shinnecock of Long Island, who also evacuated their entire community starting before the storm arrived on October 28th. For the most part, all of these tribal communities, including federal and state tribes, reported downed trees, power outages, flooding, and have requested assistance for generators, food, water, and general needs. Tribal offices and services like Indian Health Service and New York reservations were beginning their cleanup and opening up today and tomorrow. As with any major event that brings erosion and a change in topography, historians and tribal members will be reviewing and looking at historic village sites, burial grounds, and other significant sites for damage and newly exposed artifacts. The death toll from Sandy in the United States climbed to 26 today, with another 54 deaths reported in Haiti, including 6 in New York, 4 in Pennsylvania, and 3 in New Jersey, with most of the victims killed by falling trees. Sandy also killed a total of 69 people in the Caribbean before making its way up the eastern seaboard. At least 7.4 million people across the East Coast were without electricity at some point. Airlines canceled more than 12,000 flights. Lower Manhattan, the financial center of the United States, was amongst the hardest hit areas after the storm sent a nearly 14-foot surge of seawater, a record, coursing over its seawalls and highways and into low-lying areas. A native tribe wants Governor Sam Brownback to intervene in the tribe's decades-long fight to build a reservoir in and around the Northeast Kansas Reservation. The Kickapoo have been trying since the late 1970s to build the 1,200-acre Plum Creek Reservoir because of reoccurring water shortages and other problems. In 1998, Congress approved an agreement between the Kickapoo and the Neemha Brown Watershed Board to build the reservoir and the dam, but some area landowners have refused to sell the property needed for the project. Kickapoo Chairman Steve Kadub wants Brownback to direct the Watershed Board to use its power of eminent domain to take the land, but Brownback's office says it has no authority over the issue. The governor's office also says he's tried to facilitate mediation, but that's been unsuccessful so far. The Wyoming men's basketball team has taken its game to the Wind River Indian Reservation. As part of a Nike-sponsored Native American outreach program, the Cowboys will play Fort Lewis College in an exhibition game in the evening of October 31st at the Wyoming Indian School in Ethete. Fort Lewis is a small college in Colorado and a member of the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. The Skyhawks were 16-12 last season. Wyoming is coming off a 21-12 season. The game is one of 2 exhibition games for the Cowboys before they begin their regular season play November 10th at home against Western State. The Wyoming Cowgirls held the first of their 2 scheduled exhibition games this last Monday night, beating the Dakota Wesleyans 78-53. A group of American Indians returned to federal court October 30th, seeking an order that would force election officials to set up a satellite voting station on 3 remote Montana reservations in the final run-up to Election Day on November 6. Indians from the Crow, Northern Cheyenne, and Fort Belknap reservations say the long distances they must drive for early voting and late registration leaves them disadvantaged. They say county officials who have denied their request for satellite voting offices are discriminating against them. With just a few days of early voting left, U.S. District Judge Richard Siebel is being pressed to act quickly. Officials from Rosebud, Blaine, and Bighorn County said there's neither enough time nor workers to staff the satellite offices. A nonprofit group aiding the plaintiffs is offering to pay for those offices. Authorities investigating the unexpected death of Pyramid Lake Tribal Chairman Wayne Berkey says they do not believe he was a victim of foul play. The Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe said in a statement this week that the formal cause of the 38-year-old Berkey's death on October 28th would be established following an autopsy, but that the tribe wanted to make it clear it was not suspicious and foul play is not suspected. Governor Brian Sandoval, who recently appointed Berkey to the Nevada Commission on Tourism, praised him for his leadership. The 10-member tribal council governs the 2,600-member Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe, whose reservation is located about 35 miles northeast of Reno. Tribal Vice Chairman Marvin Wright Jr. will succeed Berkey as tribal chairman through the end of the year. And today in the political scene, for those that watch the polls, know we have one of the closest races that historians and politicians can remember, but the odds could be running out for Romney, who needs 270 electoral college votes, but does not have enough at the moment, and 6 days before the polls open on November 6th. 538 has Obama at 299 electoral college votes, up 10.7% since October 23rd, and with a 77.4% chance of winning, up 9.3 points since October 23rd, and with a potential projected popular vote of 50.4%. Just in case you don't like 538, then we can look at the map of AP Time magazine that has Obama at a clear 271 electoral college votes of the 270 he needs, with 5 additional toss-up states, Nevada, Colorado, Florida, Virginia, and New Hampshire, not factored in on that particular win. But other calculators have Obama ahead of that position like 538. Here's a picture of PredictWise. Now this is not a polling site, but a compilation of the 3 stock market trading sites on the presidential bid. So, for example, Colorado is highlighted on the right side as 52.2% to 47.8%. That's not a poll, but the stock market trades of individual betting on the outcome of the state's vote, and which is now betting at $5.22 per share against Romney's $4.78, which predicts the winner. Obama having a 52.2% chance of winning and taking 303 electoral votes according to their figures of 270 needed to win. Again, when you add in all the states and generate the average of the 3 stock trading sites, you get this model showing that Obama has a 68.8% chance of winning. And another look at that same model from a running graph on winning odds look like this when put into a line graph from today, again showing that Obama is almost reaching a 70% confidence level for a win as of today. Finally, one of the more conservative sites, Real Clear Politics, says that if the election again was held today, and we put the toss-up states in their relative position for or against Obama and Romney, Obama wins the election with 281 electoral college votes to Romney's 257. Everybody seems to be looking at Ohio with the idea that this state may be the most important toss-up state of any state, they say. So let's look at the polling averages out of our most conservative polling place first, and Obama leads over Romney by a 2.3% average as of October 30th, and comparing that with the 538 or Nate Silver's election predictor, we see that we have one poll that has put Romney at 2% plus, but all others, in average, still give Obama almost a 3-point lead in Ohio, polling as of October 29th. Let's look at Wisconsin for a minute as well, since this state is sometimes called essential to both Obama or Romney, and it shows an Obama lead as well, and based on averaging, Obama could move to 50% plus 1 with today's polling average at 49.7% on a win. And finally, we want to look at the impact of the Native vote on Senate races around the country, a couple that are close, including Wisconsin and Montana. In one spot there in Montana, you might be able to see the impact of, on one state, of the Native population, where American Indians make up 6.4% of the population, and Democratic John Tester is now leading, coming from behind Republican Denny Ryberg by 1.7%. So again, remember the Native vote in that state is 6.4%. Tester is leading by 1.7% according to the polls, and the Native vote there and other places with a overall U.S. population of 1.2% could be a deciding factor in many local races, and perhaps if Obama wins with less than 1% of the popular vote, who knows? It could be a big surprise like the hanging chads a couple years ago during the Bush-Gore race. It could be the native vote that makes a win or loss. And that is another roundup of news from Indian Country. On this edition of the Native News Update, we want to thank you for joining with us by saying miigwech. Come back again soon.